Hello, my fellow music lovers. I'm Allison Hagendorf, and welcome to the show. This is where we celebrate the universal love of music and the rock and roll spirit that lives in each of us. Thank you so much for being part of the show. I'd love for you to hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, or follow the show if you're listening. I'm so glad you're here. My guest today is one of my favorite bands, English rock duo Royal Blood. And yes, of course, I am rocking the tank top. We talk all about their fourth studio album, Back to the Water Below, both the pride and anxiety that comes from being in an Arctic Monkeys Foo Fighters sandwich at Glastonbury, all of the lessons they've learned from Dave Grohl, insane stories about nudity, psychedelics, and golf carts, the power of Mike's sobriety, and how the chemistry between Mike and Ben is the greatest gift of all. And stay tuned after the interview for my sound advice. New music you need to know. It all starts now. Guys, I am so happy to be here with you guys. I was thinking about it, like we now have known each other for quite some time.
Come up to 10 years, right?
It is. It is 10 years.
Since the Mercury Lounge.
Well, funny you should bring that up. Oh. Here it is. I went back and found this post dated May 13th, 2014. Now, I'm from New York, but at the time I was already living in Los Angeles, and I had a trip back to New York, and that's when I realized you were going to do this show. And I was this close. Obviously, I'm right here. And I think I've told you this before, but I teared up at this show. I did. I teared up. I'd already known the music and I loved it, but then seeing it live and the way I felt at that show brought tears to my eyes.
Wow.
I think because, 2014, rock was kind of already being ushered out of the mainstream, especially in the US. It was really like taking a back seat. And there hadn't been like a new young band that was so exciting. And then seeing you guys there really overwhelmed me. It was pretty magical.
We were quite overwhelmed that day as well, because I think this was the gig where Jimmy Page was peering over the sound
in this
disc.
room.
I think that's why I'm so desperately closing my eyes.
Yeah. Maybe you're crying as well.
Yeah.
Did you know that Jimmy Page was there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you had gotten a heads up that he might show up?
Yeah. Well, as you know, the dressing room is at the back of the stage.
Right.
You have to walk through the crowd.
Yeah.
So he was kind of standing right by the sounder. So I literally had to brush his shoulder to get to the guest. So
that's pretty unbelievable. Now, I also saw him there, and Led Zeppelin's my favorite band. So I was freaking out. Maybe I was crying because it was him. Maybe that's why I was crying. But I still chose, even knowing I could have been closer to Jimmy, I still chose to be this close to the stage, which is showing a lot. And I was thinking about it. It was 10 years ago that Out of the Black came out. That's when it was 10 years. It's like it's like almost to the date, I feel like.
Was it the 11th that came out?
Yes. Isn't that unbelievable? Yeah. And then I was thinking, okay, ever since then, I was obsessed, and I found some like special moments through the years.
Wow.
When you guys were on Kimmel, that was a good one. That was when Rob Goldklang and I, who's here today, we hardcore rocked, again, pressed up against the stage, hardcore rocking out. And this is another favorite, Lollapalooza. I think this was your first Lollapalooza, maybe, in Chicago. I can't remember.
Yeah, that might be right.
But that was, and we've had some pretty amazing times. I think I went to like Conan with you. Oh my God, the Viper Room show.
Oh yeah.
The Secret Show.
Yeah. We did a Code Red at that one where the drums go into the crowd.
You did.
Yeah.
And it was the Viper Room show was so cool because it was secret, it was last minute. And you came out with the drums, and it was like such a short set.
Yeah.
It was very short and furious and powerful. And yes, Code Red, you came out.
And the Troubadour. I remember I remember you like hanging over the balcony of that one. Yeah.
I was. And then of course, when I started the mosh pit at, I guess it was the Will Turn. And that was when the famous line where I said, "Brian, hold my bag." And I went right into the crowd and started a mosh pit with two large men. And I was like, let's go. And I started like flailing limbs. Yeah.
Amazing.
I just loved Royal Blood.
Great t-shirt.
Committed, guys.
Yeah.
I'm committed. I've loved Royal Blood from the start.
Well, thank you for being such a fan
and
of our band.
Mosh pits.
And
So thinking back like on these 10 years, I feel like your ascent was pretty fast in the beginning. Because I remember you were thinking of maybe being a chef at one point, and then like...
I didn't think we'd be doing this.
Right.
I think by the time we had started this band, it felt like we'd left the idea of this being a career behind us, honestly. I think, we kind of felt not burnt out, but we'd been in multiple bands where that was the thing we'd zeroed in on, how do we make this our job? And I think that approach was just quite exhausting, and it took a lot of the fun out of it. So I think this band was about forgetting that idea and just playing for ourselves and entertaining our friends. And because it's always funny when people sort of ask us, did we expect this or plan this? It's like, it's so it was the complete opposite of that. There was no vision whatsoever.
But it kind of took, once you guys found that it was going to be the two of you, because I know that you had been in bands for a while, and you found that, wow, there's like something magical happening between the two of us, like chemistry between the two of you. Things did kind of pick up though quickly, like straight away. Did it feel like that to you?
It didn't.
Like, didn't you get like one of your first major tours? Wasn't that like with Iggy Pop and like Foo Fighters, like kind of early on?
We did a couple of years of kind of no one knowing who we were and playing to 5 people and doing that. But honestly, it felt like all of that slogging it in the van, all that had really been done in bands before this one.
Right.
So in comparison, it was only really like 2 years of that before we were getting offers to play with the Foo Fighters and do all this crazy shit,
Yeah.
So the ascent, the kind of build-up felt like our entire lives.
Right, it was. It was your whole life to this moment. But once you guys found the magic between the two of you, it was kind of ignited.
Yeah, we've been in bands since we were 12. So it was like, by the time you're 23, it was like, let's fucking...
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, this is what we've kind of...
I think you get a bit of luck. And with that bit of luck of like a certain person seeing you or a certain bit of press going out, or, for us, it was we put up a song and the right person heard it.
Yeah.
But that's one bit. The second bit is about being prepared afterwards.
Yeah.
And having all of that, our past with playing together and, but being prepared.
That's exactly right. Mm-hmm. That's what luck is creating your own luck by when opportunity and preparation meet. That's exactly what it was. Yeah. When you had those opportunities, like to tour with, Foo Fighters, like what were those experiences like so early on?
Really hard to take in, a real kind of baptism of fire, and suddenly going from playing to no one to being in guaranteed sold out stadiums and also playing alongside a band that have done it so long and it's so well oiled.
Yes.
Just really, really inspiring and really kind of looked at it from a musician's point of view. Mm-hmm. I think we would watch their shows quite intensely and see how they were putting a set list together and not just on stage but off stage as well, how they interact with each other and everyone around them. It was just really inspiring on how to conduct yourself on the road and how to kind of survive this strange life.
Of course. And
it was like a sort of an opportunity to look into the future, perhaps, of where the idea of, okay, this might not just be something we'll get to do for a year. This could be something we do for 10 years. And if so, how do you operate? And for them, it was we just saw athletes.
Yes,
we saw them.
Right. Yeah.
We saw them go and just play music all day in their jam room. And it was just living and breathing the music. Yeah. And I think it's infectious. And I think
it's not a gig, it's a way of life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And that they were the same on stage as off. And I think that was really enlightening for me, because I think being quite young and being up in front of that many people, there's almost a protective mechanism where you go, I don't think I'll be myself today, because that's quite scary. And I think letting the kind of veil drop slowly is a really empowering thing to do.
That is an empowering thing.
And I think,
and it's tricky for front men to like find that balance, because I talk to a lot of singers and they're like, I take a breath. When I step on stage, I'm one person. And then when I step off the stage, I'm back to the other person. So that's one way people do it. Other ways, like Dave Grohl, who's like always the same. You know?
Yeah, I think it's about accepting that who you are out on stage is a part of who you are, but not all of who you are.
Right. It's a part of who you are.
Yeah, I would kind of liken it to a boxer.
Yes.
You know, you're in a certain state of mind before you go into the ring, but that state of mind isn't that appropriate at dinner.
Know your audience. Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's still a part of who you are. But that experience touring with them was really inspiring.
And that was sort of like towards the beginning to think about the tours that you've been on since, the headlining tours, the festivals, and now it's brought you to this 4th album, which is pretty amazing, guys. Congratulations. I want to give you a round of applause. Back to the Water Below. I listened to it when it first came out, but I really did a deep dive recently just again, and it's really gorgeous. And I feel like on this album, I hear more Bowie, I hear more Beatles, I hear more, it's a little bit of like maybe some of your influence kind of coming through even more. It's just a gorgeous body of work that is a journey. I'd love to hear more about, I know it's self-produced. You have this beautiful jellyfish donning the cover. And I'd love to know more about your headspace with this album and sort of what the symbolism is of it.
Yeah, I think not having a vision of making it as far as 4 records, I think it meant that every time the opportunity to make a record has come around, we've always approached it as, this is your last record. Because I think I just don't think tomorrow's promised. And I think you've got to kind of leave it all out there and do it your way. Because I think when all the lights go down and everyone goes home, all you're left with is your records. And I think we want to look back on them and know we did what we wanted to do and not what we thought we should be doing.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think, this album was a reaction to all the records we've made before. And just, not chasing some of those influences you mentioned, but just being open to allowing, not censoring influences, you know? I think because of the nature of how we started being a 2-piece and it was all about limitation and kind of not doing things, I think this record was about allowing kind of whatever we needed to do to serve the song to come through. So I think it resulted in some songs that are reminiscent of how we started, which is very minimal and very raw, but then other songs which are more layered and kind of pulling from the Beatles and T-Rex.
Yes, totally.
And it was just, it felt like we had full use of the gearbox, you know?
That's beautiful. To me, this sounds like freedom to me.
Yeah.
It sounds like you just taking a deep breath and letting go and seeing what comes out. And I feel that as a listener listening to this album.
I think Typhoons was a real bridge for us and allowed us to do this as well, because Typhoons was written during a real difficult time in not being able to play shows, not being able to be with family or friends. And it was kind of a studio album in the end. But we used sounds and went in a direction that was a departure, I guess, from what we're known for. And putting in different sounds, going that disco 4 to the floor type thing. And I think it just allowed us to do what we're doing on this record, which is kind of the opposite.
It is. But it just, your people, your music fans, your artists. And I think that's beautiful to explore all influences, all parts of you. That's how you become who you are.
Yeah.
If you're always staying in the same lane at all times, that's not the meeting the potential of your artistry.
Yeah. I think everything on this record had to feel like something we hadn't done before. And even if it felt like familiar territory, it had to be a version of that territory we hadn't explored before.
Yes.
And I think my highlights in the record are the things that go further than ever, honestly. That feeling of Bowie describing it as your feet just leaving the bottom of the pool. I think that sensation is something that we were tuned into, where it felt, if you have that feeling, it's probably that you're probably onto something. Yeah.
Waves is a highlight for me. That song is gorgeous. And that stood out to me upon first listen. And that's when you know a song is really special, because sometimes there are songs that like all of a sudden after hearing it a bunch of times, you're like, oh wow, I really love that song. But Waves was a first listen for me. I'd love to just hear more about it, because I know you guys have been playing it in your sets. So tell me about that song.
I don't think we're alone in that the 11th hour of making a record tends to be the most sort of prolific period. It's definitely the case for us. Like every record, that kind of last effort of writing and pushing yourself that bit further. I think it happens in sports as well.
Yes.
Like extra time.
Yep.
That's when all the magic seems to happen.
So you dig deep without even realizing it sometimes.
And I think, that song, especially the way it started with just that verse section, is just so not reminiscent of anything we've done before. So it really felt like we'd gone completely out into the jungle and the sat-nav's gone down and the car's broken down, just wandering off into the wilderness. But yeah, it was just kind of tuning into that feeling again of, well, this is coming from an honest place and it's like, here we are, so let's explore it. And yeah, like musically, it just sort of seemed to take off and it just immediately felt special. And it was very instinctual, like it was written in kind of a day.
That's amazing. Yeah. Some of the gems just come out that way. They like come out with you even being part of it. Like it just sort of comes out. Yeah.
And there was a song on Typhoons called All We Have Is Now.
Yep.
That, kind of felt like it was pointing us in the direction of Waves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've always, after playing All We Have Is Now live, there's always a feeling of like, I wish this took off or went somewhere, because it's this short snippet of a song. So this felt like, okay, I'm learning from that.
That was the introduction.
Absolutely, yeah.
It was almost like a gateway into another part of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the ending of that song is just, it feels really powerful to play live.
Oh my
God. And it's like simple. I think there's a lot of times on Typhoons where it looks easy, but it's really hard.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
There was a point where I was like, can we just play something that's really easy?
You're like, this is a little daunting.
Really impressive.
Yeah. And you've been having Will from Bad Nerves come up on stage and play that as well.
Yeah, it's just served this really nice opportunity to include new musicians onto the stage. And we're on tour with Hot Wax now from the UK. So we've got Tallulah kind of playing that role.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's kind of brings the show together. And that just adds a new dynamic for us, having more people on stage.
But I think it's really cool now, and I want to ask you, do you now notice kind of where your role is in the landscape? Like the fact that you have a band like, Hot Wax and awesome bands, by the way. You guys are picking awesome, like bands I love. I was psyched when I heard these bands were going to be opening for you. But now you're that band that inspires other bands, that like, I'm like now like these new bands, like I love this band called Return to Dust. I'm like, they must love Royal Blood,
Right.
Like, and does that make you feel good to know that now you're inspiring this next wave of musicians and bands?
Yeah, and there's no feeling of superiority at all. It's like they're unbelievable musicians, and it's just kind of, it's more just the feeling of sharing great music with our audience. And because being in a band's tough, and it's like getting in front of people is really difficult. So when you kind of hear a band you love, and you have this platform, you can be like, you should come on tour with us and get in front. That's an amazing feeling,
Well, there was this beautiful full circle moment at Glastonbury this year when you were wearing an Arctic Monkeys tank to sort of like pay it forward, because it was 10 years ago when Matt wore the Royal Blood shirt?
Yeah.
See, it means everything when bands in the community support each other and say, I love this new band, because I'm sure that, I bet you just Matt wearing the shirt probably gave Royal Blood like a huge look.
Looking back now, it has. Right then, it didn't.
Right.
It was just no one had any idea who we were. So
it sort of served as a kind of moment after we'd kicked off.
Right.
There was this sort of it was almost like reverse engineered. Yeah, like Ben was saying at the time, it was me, Ben, and our friends going, "What the fuck?"
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome,
and
right?
like no one else.
Yeah, right.
So yeah.
What was that like, 10 years later playing Glastonbury, playing the Pyramid stage, like that, like those moments, they're like, are you a little out of body or like, what's your headspace like in those moments?
Yeah, they're so bizarre, honestly, because there's almost like two sides. There's like two ways of looking at it, at least from my perspective. And one is like, this is extremely high pressure.
Mm-hmm.
This is like millions of people are going to see this. Your peers are kind of literally peering from the side of the stage.
Your peers are peering. Yeah.
And it's this don't fuck it up thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's another half of you, which is just like, I'm going up there to do what we do and love every day. And that stuff doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this like balancing act of those two things. And I think sometimes if you tune too far into one,
right, that's true.
Like,
you kind of need both of them a little bit to like keep you grounded. So,
From my experience, the first sort of 3 songs are just, it's like you've never played the songs before in your life.
Uh-huh.
And you're making brand new mistakes and it's all getting to your head and then you kind of settle in. I don't know how it was for you, but
how was it for you, Ben?
Yeah, I think the first time we played it was the first time we played Glastonbury altogether was in the John Peel tent. And I've never seen that many people in front of us before. So that was quite shocking. And then to do it on the Pyramid stage, which is the biggest stage in the world.
Yeah.
And we had a #1 record and we're very excited. And like there's all kinds of things going on. But for this time, it was very exciting, obviously, but I felt a little bit more settled.
Good.
A little bit more like, I know where I am here now. I know what to expect. And it was just like,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. It doesn't get any bigger, So like,
no.
When those moments happen, are you like, we did it? Like do you feel successful in those moments?
I'll tell you what, actually, because this one, obviously, Arctic Monkeys headlining, and there was this secret act playing before us, the Churn Ups.
The Churn Ups.
And we didn't know who that was until quite late on. And
like a week before.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way.
You're playing after the Foo Fighters. You're sandwiched in between the biggest rock band in the UK and the biggest rock band in America.
Yeah.
Off you go.
I
think it made me a little bit nervous, but also, the balancing thing, it spurred me on to be like, we're going to go out there and give it to them,
I think those situations are so bizarre. And who do you phone?
Yeah.
who the fuck do you call to be like, how do you... You're on your own, really. And I think it just comes down to doubling down on who you are. And I kind of was saying earlier about watching the Foos go out and being the same off stage, on stage. It's like there's no... it would be so tempting in that scenario to go and be something you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And to try and make it a competition of some kind, whereas really it's just like, actually, this is what we do, this is who we are, so we're going to go and do that.
We belong here.
Yeah.
We belong here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's unbelievable.
And it's like we're all shooting for the same thing, and Dave was backstage and had our backs, so it's like,
yeah,
that's what it's about. It's not fucking Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. He came over to me and he was like, how you feeling? And I was like, a bit nervous. He was like, why? I was like, don't ask me. Why?
That's so Dave. I love that.
Why?
What's been your sort of rapport with, Dave Grohl, Foo Fighters, other, big bands that you've toured with? And especially I know, like, being a fan of Dave Grohl's and Taylor Hawkins, through the years, what has it been like to have exchanges with them and to tour with them?
Amazing. You realize they're just great people and they're fun to hang out with, and they've inspired me from being a teenager and watching Nirvana and watching Foo Fighters and Chili Peppers, or all of that, and to get to do that with them is just the dream come true.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. For me, just to meet them and hang them and interview them is that moment for me. But to be a fellow musician, I feel like it's a whole other, level. Who did you grow up listening to, both of you? Like, who was it that really helped you influence or inspire your sound, or what music you wanted to do?
There's quite a lot. I mean, I grew up in quite a religious setting. So it was kind of a lot of hymns from dusty old books. And then I've got 4 sisters who were listening to like the Spice Girls, which I love, but it didn't, there was nothing really available that had really
resonated with you. Yeah.
And then just slowly things were creeping in, like Elvis. I met like my earliest memory of music, probably running around with like an acoustic, just pretending to be Elvis and just listening to, which is kind of what I'm doing now.
Same thing.
Yeah. And then I don't know if I bought it or someone gave it to me. I listened to Firestarter. And it was just like listening to the voice of the devil himself. And it was just, even now when I listen to that song, I'm like, this is from another planet.
Prodigy is just the absolute best. I put on Prodigy now and then just to kind of get me into a zone. There's nothing else like it.
Yeah. And then, things like Nirvana, all that was kind of dripping through. But I was learning piano as well. And again, like learning just songs about leaves that you play with 2 fingers.
As you do.
And then I discovered Queen and the Beatles, and then just like playing the piano and learning those songs, I think is what really like drew me in. And then that was it. Like even it's like everyone would go and play football at the school, and I'd just be in the music room just on the piano. That was it for me.
So music spoke to you, like, this is my calling.
Yeah, I was probably about 6, and I was like,
really, as early as 6?
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know that at the time.
Right. But you're like, I just love
in my
this.
Subconscious. Yeah.
What about you, Ben?
Yeah, it's kind of similar, really. I really got into playing the drums seriously probably around 15. Although I was playing at like 6 years old. But when I started to be influenced by Dave Grohl, Taylor Hawkins, Chad Smith.
Yeah.
And then when I heard John Theodore playing on the Mars Volta record, that blew my mind.
Love Mars Volta.
And so I guess and then from listening to Dave Grohl playing drums, Taylor Hawkins playing drums, and Chad, I went in reverse to hear, John Bonham, Zeppelin from Dave's drumming.
Like a deceptive.
Yeah. Taylor Hawkins was like Police and Queen and that's so I went backwards. And I was really into the new metal, Linkin Park, like
same
stuff, Limp Bizkit, and
me too.
The drumming in that music is amazing.
Yeah. It was like, for me, like, so Nirvana changed my life, but then when I heard Nirvana cover Bowie, then I went back and learned about Bowie. So similar. It's like you love a certain artist, but then you go back and discover their influences. Yeah. And they're sort of like, I should know who they are since I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know when I interviewed Taylor Hawkins, he talked about the day he saw Queen. And after that moment, he saw Roger Taylor like spitting into the air. He's like, I want to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so cool. Last time I had you guys on my show, you were entering into a new chapter of your life with sobriety, and you were in an incredible place where you were like sea swimming, and you were like running marathons. Where are you with all of that now?
Yeah, I haven't been in the sea in a long time. It's one of those things when you stop doing, it's harder and harder to get back in there.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I was impressed when you were doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I think like fitness has become a big part of being on the road, actually.
Right.
Which is something that probably is, it's quite alien, really. It's not that I mean, there's people that do it, but it's not commonplace. So I think when people see me kind of going for a run after the gig, they're like, what are you doing?
Well, it's a substitution. It's like one type of behavior.
Yeah, there is a bit of that. I mean... running isn't ruining my life.
Right,
you know?
right.
But obviously you have to be aware of those things because you don't want it to just replace where you were.
Right. But I mean, it's just like it's habitual, just like anything else. So if you get used to every night or every morning I drink, you just substitute it with, well, now I don't drink anymore, but I do this.
Well, I think, what I got in return was time.
Yeah, time.
Like fucking loads and loads of time and energy.
Yeah.
So you have to, unfortunately, use up that time and that energy. So it's like, it just usually means pointing it towards things of value or things that you used to do,
right?
But you quit so you could get on the pub instead, you know?
Yeah,
so you either kind of rekindle old hobbies or interests or find new ones, yeah.
Congrats on that. How long are you sober now?
10 minutes. Cheers. No, it will be 5 years in February.
That's wild. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
That's a massive feat. And you've been so supportive this entire time, Ben.
Tried to be. I just drink the drinks he doesn't.
Right. That's how you're
Ben's drinking twice as much.
But I'm impressed. Look, I've hung with you guys. We've had so many great times. So I give you a lot of credit. That's like a hard switch. But I know sometimes it takes like hitting a low point, hitting like a rock bottom. I remember you sharing like this, you were in Vegas and there was like a moment where you're like, this cannot continue.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think I just hit a point where I'm in this for music,
Right.
Like we're just talking about how we got into it. And I wasn't like, I was 5 pretending to be Elvis and getting hammered. That wasn't a part of the interest, and that isn't the thing. That's not why I'm in it.
Yeah.
I think drinking and partying, that sort of latches on at some point into what you do and actually begins to ruin it.
Yeah.
I saw someone say the other day, anyone that kind of makes drinking an essential part of their life or their career, what did he say? He said it's a road paved for losers. It's like it ruins your art, it ruins your writing, it ruins what you do. And I was noticing that effect. I was writing shit songs, I was playing badly. It started to kind of eat away at what I love doing. Yeah. And it was like, you got to pick.
Yeah.
I was like, I pick music every fucking time.
Kudos to you. That's difficult because many people aren't as fortunate to be able to find their way, so that's pretty inspiring.
Yeah. And just that like inaccuracy, I think is really damaging. Like it's one of two things. Either you think you're fucking awesome all the time, which is usually what it is.
Right.
Like, I was great. Well, listen to this. It's great. And that's so unhelpful if you're going to be creative for a living. Yeah. What you need is accuracy. You need to be like, well, that bit's great. Yeah. But the rest isn't. It was either that or the complete opposite, which is everything I do is shit.
Right.
Oh, it's shit. Oh, it's all.
That's toxic
and
as well.
It's just this black and white way of thinking that's so, just not helpful if you're going to tour as a musician for a living or be a creative person for a living. That's a really damaging pattern of thinking to fall into. It
is. How do you guys, and I'm glad that you have each other, to sort of keep yourself sane and grounded. How do you navigate a lot of the darkness, toxicity that comes with touring, that comes with social media, just comes with criticism? How do you kind of stay healthy?
It's just the music, honestly. I think as soon as that first song kicks in, I'm back in the rehearsal space with Ben and the world fucks off. Yeah. And it's that feeling of playing for yourself and playing to impress each other that's so pure, and that can't really be shaken. I think the fact that we're friends helps as well. Yeah. We're not winners of some competition that have been put together or anything like that. So
it's true.
And
you've been friends for how long? Like, when did you? How old
since
were you?
We were like 15, maybe. So I think building a band on a friendship is building it on a proper foundation.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
what would you say? Like, how do you complement each other? Like, what do you think? Because you guys really, it's the chemistry that's the magic of Royal Blood. You know, it really is. It's so unique to the two of you. What do you think it is? Like, what's your favorite thing about Ben?
Well, I think chemistry relies on opposites, and we're very different, you know. Ben's fire and I'm oxygen.
I love that. Do you agree with this, Ben?
Yeah,
which causes a fucking explosion, you know?
That's so good.
I think we're very different in ways, and yeah, that's part of it.
I think we've learned as well just what each other need in like with space and with humor.
Yeah.
Like I think our friendship is very humorous. We're joking the whole time, and I think as soon as that goes, you know, what do you have to laugh? You know, you need to laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because life should be fun.
It should be fun.
Yeah.
Is there a specific anecdote you can recall about the other one that just like a loving moment?
The only anecdotes I can think of are totally inappropriate.
Bring it on. Let's hear it.
You've put me on the spot.
Of course.
I can think of one that predates the band that's quite good.
Oh, I want to hear.
Where we had a long drive, and I was, I really liked this girl, but she didn't like me. And I was about 16. I was pouring my heart out to Ben, and he was listening, going, "Yeah, man, yeah," you know, saying all the right things. And then I looked over, and he was basically completely naked. And the entire time I had spent, I was driving, so I had eyes on the road, and I was getting everything I needed to hear. And I didn't know that while I'd been
just taking off my clothes,
confessing how I feel, he'd just been slowly removing his clothes.
I'm so confused why you were naked.
But it made me feel better.
Okay.
You
were both vulnerable. I'm confused.
Well, that's another story. Yeah.
Okay. Do you recall this story, Ben?
Oh yeah. There's been plenty of times where this has happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Back when I was a teenager, I liked to take off my clothes quite a lot.
Yeah.
Like answer the door completely
like
naked.
Full nude.
Yeah,
full
nude. I could accurately draw Ben.
Really? Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Just the confidence and just being comfortable in your own skin.
I think it just brought, again, as humor. It's just funny, isn't
There's
it?
nothing funnier.
There's nothing funnier.
There isn't. Especially in a moment of seriousness.
Right. Yeah. It's true.
And someone just streaks that's
it is true. It is true.
It's liberating as well.
It is liberating. What, do you have a story to share about Mike?
Okay, let's think. I need to think about this. Can I have a think?
Okay, fine. Okay. Download Festival. Another thing I wanted to talk to you guys. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Another milestone, because you guys haven't played in like 10 years. Is that true?
Yeah, apparently, 10 years.
Yeah. We kind of, Download's quite a heavy festival.
Yeah.
And I guess our first couple of records had that more heavier side, I guess.
So we're just going to play the disco album.
Right, of course. Just waves on repeat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I think that's what's cool about Royal Blood and what's so unique is that you don't fit into a specific category or genre.
Right.
You know, again, it's not been about the genre sound, it's been about the two of you. So I feel like it transcends festivals and scenes, and that's really cool. Do those moments really sit with you? You're like, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm still stoked when I find out that people are coming to the gig.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow.
That's
that
awesome.
Hasn't really got old for me.
I've noticed next year actually we're playing quite a lot of like rock festivals as well. Because like you say, we don't really fit in any box. We do the alternative rock thing, but we've got like, is it like Rock and Ring or rock? No, what are we doing?
Rock and Ring,
yeah. And are we doing like Hellfest or something?
Hellfest, I saw it. Also, that's so cool. Yeah.
Which are places that we've never been. So it's going to be fun.
Very happy for you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, very happy for you. How are you feeling right now? Like, where's your headspace?
Good. It's I don't know. I'm loving being in America, playing these shows. It's great. We live the best life.
Aww.
We get to tour around and be on your show and get to talk about music, and there's nothing to complain about.
Oh, I'm like tearing up. I love you guys. I mean, even just having you here, how do you feel about being in America? Now you've been back and forth a ton of times. How do you feel about it now? Where do you like to go? Do you like to explore the whole country? Do you have a favorite city?
I mean, it's my favorite place to tour. I think I just find there's something with the audience. I just feel like they're really paying attention. You know, there's a real care for the details.
Mm-hmm.
And I think rock and roll is so woven into the history and you know, like, as soon as you like come from the airport and get in the Uber, there's like a fucking guitar solo on the radio.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, and I think being in the band that we are, it feels comfortable, you know? And it's so different.
Yeah.
People, you know, come home and everyone goes, "How was America?" And it's like, I don't know how to fucking answer that. What are you on about? Like, it's. I love playing in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I love being in New York. That's probably like my favorite part of the US. But it almost doesn't feel like America. It feels like its own country.
I will say, as a New Yorker, I do think New York's the greatest city on the planet. I think New York's its own electricity.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's wild. The energy of New York is just unparalleled.
Yeah, it's kind of got me hook, line, and sinker, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. Hook, line, and sinker.
I love
I see what you did there.
So,
I see what you did there.
Out now.
Yeah, right. What about you, Ben?
Well, it's perfect for touring it.
Yeah.
Because you drive from city to city and state to state, and everywhere's different. And the people are different, the food's different, the culture's different, and it's just exciting.
Great venues as well.
Great venues, yeah.
Amazing old theatres. And
it's cool. It's cool.
And I guess coming from a small village in the UK where, you know, six hours and you're in Scotland, you know,
right,
where it's just so different, and
it is.
for what we've come from. And I think it's just bigger and better.
Aw. Do you think you'd ever live here?
Yeah, I'm trying to
really?
Make that happen. Yeah, I want to live in New York.
Okay.
I've spent a lot of time there, like months at a time, but obviously have commitments in the UK, so I've been going back and forth a lot. But yeah, I'm finding spending most of my time there now.
That's awesome.
Touring,
You'll have to keep me posted because I can give you some insight.
Please do. Yeah,
I love New York. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I didn't think I would, just because I grew up in a kind of sleepy seaside town.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that kind of chaos that some people seem to sort of complain about, I thought that would be an issue, but I was like, no, I actually need this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You learn a lot about yourself. You kind of become a lot of who you are just being in that environment. It's really unique.
Yeah, I like that grit, and I
like
that
grit.
I like that leaving your apartment and just sort of it being like uphill
into the elements
and just sort of having to like karate chop your way through the morning. I'm like,
it is that's how I would describe it.
I'm into that.
You open your door and it is like,
I'm
ready.
all about the struggle.
It is. Yeah. I don't want to do that anymore, but I did do it for the majority of my life. So now I prefer LA.
I don't see it being a long-term plan. I will admit that.
Yeah.
I can imagine like 10 years of it being like, get me
out. Yeah.
Right now I'm in that kind of,
Oh, that's
where my head's at.
Really?
I change my mind every 10 seconds though.
Well, that's okay. What about you, Ben? You think you can live here?
My brother lives in Nashville.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. So I've got family over there. But I'm very settled.
Okay.
I'm quite a homebody, and I like, like we were saying, got my lovely girlfriend and the dog, and going home's quite special for me as well, because we spend a lot of time away.
Yeah, you do.
We're away until Christmas Eve pretty much now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mike's away for ages. He's going to India. He's on a quest to find the new sound.
Well, the tour is sort of, I managed to just stay on the road. So I'm just going west. So we go to New Zealand, Australia, and then the next show is in India.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just gonna.
He's on a world
tour.
Going.
You're on a world tour.
I'm on a world tour. Yeah.
That's
Mike's
amazing.
World tour.
Have you thought of a story about Mike yet?
Do you know what? There's so many that come to mind, and they're so inappropriate. But
there's no such thing.
Mike is quite mischievous. There was one time we were in Canada, And we both were quite drunk and kind of went out in the crowd.
Really drunk.
Yeah, quite drunk means
we're on a lot of things.
Okay.
Let's just say that. And I convinced Mike to get down to the front to watch Imagine Dragons.
Hang on a minute.
I'm nervous about where this is going.
Let's just quickly, quite drunk.
Many things happened during this. Things happened during this night, though, and it resulted in us.
Actually saw dragons. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually we stole a golf buggy. It was a festival, and drove into a forest together. And I think I was driving, and then there was some again, we're tripping here, but there was some weird things that happened along the way. We met these people at this campfire, and then and then
Dan Reynolds was there.
No, we saw him the next morning. We told him all about this.
We made some friends.
Yeah,
okay.
And then we walked through a swamp that was just filled with frogs. I've got videos of this stuff as well. And I had this Indiana Jones hat on.
But get this, these people, this couple, this couple that were tripping had joined forces with us wandering around. And we walked through a campsite, and then suddenly they looked at each other and they were like, okay, ready, go. And they just started stealing shit. They just started looting, stealing chairs. And we are like, what the fuck is going on? And they were like, help.
They were trying to recruit you in their criminal activities.
Yes. And I was like, Ben, we have to. And we just ran away from them.
Yeah.
Through the frogs.
While they were stealing shit.
That's a dark turn.
I was like, what are you guys doing? And then, and then the frogs. And then
what happened? You made yourself safely back? Or?
Well, I remember walking back to the stage, and I was like, the stage is over there. Mike burst out laughing, going, that is not the stage, it's tiny.
He was pointing at a light box about the size of that. going, we have to go to the and I was burst out laughing, but then I was like, oh shit, that is the stage.
Okay. Now, who was on at this time? Who was performing at this time?
Oh, no one. This is 4 in the morning.
Oh, this is okay. This is the next day.
Yeah.
That's when you saw Dan Reynolds at breakfast catering the next day.
We did.
You were like,
we did. We actually did.
Yeah.
He had his top off.
He had his top off
at breakfast?
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
I mean,
it's ambitious.
I would have my top off at breakfast.
It's true. Yeah. It's true.
That was fun.
Oh my God, guys. See, thank God you shared the story.
And then we woke up and realized that none of that happened.
None of it happened. You actually weren't on tour.
Yeah.
You were back in Brighton.
Yeah.
That's amazing. All right, let's do deep cuts. That's amazing. Name a song, album, or artist that changed your life.
Blood Sugar Sex Magic, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Great choice.
Songs for the Deaf.
First concert.
Lincoln Park, I think it was, at the Docklands Arena.
That's a great
supported by
concert.
Puddle of Mud.
Oh, that's a good one.
Gold Frap at the Brighton Dome.
These are good first concerts. Impressive. What's a song you wish you wrote?
Shape of You, Ed Sheeran.
It's for those sweet Benjamins.
Actually, no. Do you know what? I'd go Adele. Her Bond song. What was her Bond song called?
Skyfall.
Oh yeah, the Skyfall. Yeah, Skyfall. Yeah, that's a good one.
I think I'm gonna go for a Christmas hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, what's your favorite?
Christmas, everyone.
Actually, what's your favorite Christmas song? Because mine's Last Christmas, Wham.
Driving Home for Christmas, Chris Rea.
Okay.
Favorite Christmas song?
I urge you to go back and watch the last
The
Christmas.
Darkness Christmas song's
Oh,
great.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Don't let the bells
Don't let the
end.
bells end.
Yeah, the darkness is great. The darkness is great. Yeah, Justin's crushing. Did you see how he like reviewed one of your songs?
We did, yeah.
A friend sent that to
It was
me.
great.
Yeah.
I love what he's doing now. I
Yeah,
think he's
he's great.
hilarious. What I was saying is I urge you to go back and watch the last Christmas Wham music video.
Oh, yeah.
It's really wonderful. Like, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you need to watch it.
Okay.
Like, you need to watch it and then hit me up afterwards. Because it's just, I watch it once in a while just to like put me in a good
Every
mood.
week.
Yeah,
Once
I do.
a week, yeah.
I do because it's like that
Sundays,
great.
12 o'clock.
God, George Michael's hair, just the whole thing is so
I love
good.
the Club Tropicana video
Oh my God.
Yeah.
because it's at Pike's, the hotel where in Ibiza is. And Lewis Capaldi actually just did a video of the same thing. Have
The
you-
exact
Oh,
video.
really?
Yeah, like frame
Shot,
for
but
frame.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I have to watch that. What's your favorite meal or cuisine?
A roast dinner is my favorite meal.
Quite like Japanese food.
Yeah. If you were not a musician, what would you be?
A terrible chef.
Probably an astronaut.
An astronaut.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had the option to.
I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
He chose music.
What is something your fans would be surprised to learn about you?
I'm very organized.
Really?
Yeah. I like things done in a certain way, from packing my suitcase to knowing how many gigs I've played this year.
I spend basically all of my spare time obsessing over card magic, like card tricks.
Really?
Yeah, that's
You
kind
I
of,
did not know this.
You got any cards?
I should have
No.
brought some cards.
Yeah.
I'm really
Disappeared.
upset about this.
Yeah.
Have you always felt this way?
Yeah. I mean, from when I was a teenager, I kind of like got obsessed with David Blaine, like everyone
Mhm.
did. And then weirdly, when I got sober, I was talking about how he's kind of rekindled old hobbies.
Yes.
I kind of went back to that, and I was like, I want to see if I can still do card tricks, and then that's become like
Okay.
An
so forget
obsession.
chef. It'd be like magician, maybe.
now, yeah.
Yeah. If you could meet any celebrity, dead or alive, who would it be?
Ricky Gervais.
Dead or alive? Jeff Buckley.
Ah, one of my favorite vocalists of all time. One of the most underrated, unknown, incredible artists.
Or John Lennon.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can they both come?
They both can come. They both
And
can
Ricky
come.
Gervais.
I'm Ricky Gervais.
Strange. So,
That Jeff Buckley Grace album is an album
Oh, it's
everyone needs
amazing,
to
yeah.
own.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize we shared this love of Jeff
There
Buckley.
we go.
Yeah. It's wow. What's the greatest risk you've ever taken?
Getting in that golf cart.
Yeah.
With the criminal couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was risky business.
It was risky business.
Went paragliding not that long ago. That's quite. I guess that's not risky really.
Mhm.
I've taken a lot of drugs. That's probably the honest answer. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably like the biggest like dice roll on
Yeah.
life. Yeah,
That is true.
paragliding is that's nothing.
Yeah.
How
Well,
about paragliding on drugs?
Yeah, except for the time
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did it on drugs.
yeah, that's next level.
Yeah,
Last but
That's
not
high.
least, what are words you live by?
Live, life, laugh. No, this is just calling to me.
Yeah,
rock
that's
and
what I
roll.
said.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
It
Mhm.
can just be the answer for everything,
Yeah.
can't it?
Yeah.
You make a mistake,
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
you nail it.
Rock and roll.
It's
I know,
like,
I
it.
live
do you
by
know what I mean?
that.
It's like
I know.
it's
So we all agree it's rock and roll.
It's
I
rock
think,
and
yeah,
roll.
yeah.
All right. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
love seeing both of you all the time. This is really a gift.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you. It is always my pleasure to catch up with Mike and Ben. It is hard to believe I've been following them for 10 years, and I cannot wait to see where the next 10 take them. They are hands down one of the best live bands, and it is wild to witness just how much gorgeous sound they are able to make with just the two of them. I love these guys so much. It is now time for my sound advice, new music you need to know on the Allison Hagendorf Show playlist. First up this week is a new one from today's guest, Royal Blood. This song shows a different side of the band. It's the last song off of their new album, Back to the Water Below. It is gorgeous. It's melodic. You can certainly hear the Beatles and Bowie influence and rocks out at the end, which is signature to Royal Blood. There is no escaping it. Check out this new one from Royal Blood, Waves. Also this week is a new one from Kelsey Carter and the Heroines. Kelsey is such a rock star. She recently opened up for Billy Idol earlier this year, and this song is a bona fide 80s-inspired monster ballad. Kelsey shared with me that this song is about her love, Adam Slack of the Struts, so naturally she asked him to solo on it. You need to blast this one, get lost in it, belt out the lyrics, air guitar to Adam's solo naturally, and enjoy the latest song from Kelsey Carter and the Heroines, Wild. Now introducing LA two-piece Trash. Former guest Jason Alon of Fever 333 turned me onto it. This song was an instant obsession for me. The band said they came up with a punk skate riff on top of a punk skate drum pattern, and then introduced that riff with trap drums. It's got a little bit of everything, which is why I love it. It just takes you on this journey. Turn this one up. Check out Trash with their debut song, Disappear. That's my sound advice this week. Search for the Allison Hagendorf Show playlist wherever you listen to music. Thank you so much for being part of the Allison Hagendorf Show. New episodes drop every Friday, so make sure you follow and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. You can find the show wherever you listen to podcasts, and you can also watch the show on YouTube. I would love to hear from you, so please like, comment, rate, review, whatever you're feeling, and reach out to me on socials at Allie Hagendorf. I'd love to connect with you. Let me know who I should interview next and what new music I should feature on my sound advice. Thanks again. I'll see you next time. And remember, you're a rock star.